All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back, episode 56, weighing in with Travis Hartman. Thank you much for joining us. Please subscribe below or follow our content if you aren't already. Give a little like to the video, too, when you get a second. Weekend Trav over there. I am B-Money, the producer. Today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about a fight from this past weekend. A friend of the show, Chris Billam-Smith, the gentleman, taking on Tommy McCarthy. We'll jump into a little bit of detail on the Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley fight coming up later this month, as well as the on-again, off-again relationship between Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant. Weekend Trav, always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Is it?
Yeah, kind of. Coming off the heels of, I made a little controversial video, kind of, so we'll talk about that at the very end, too. But, yeah, it's been great, though. Boxing is good as well. We had a lot of good boxing matches this weekend, so I like to see that. Well,
let's highlight one in particular. I mentioned it right at the onset of the show. We're going to talk about the matchup between Chris Billam-Smith and Tommy McCarthy. That was part of the fight camp that was on DAZN, brought to you by Matchroom. Chris Billam-Smith, we met him back in Dallas in December/January when we were there to watch his countryman and friend fight.
Luke Campbell, who just announced his retirement as well.
True.
So happy retirement,
happy
brother.
Retirement. Congratulations on an awesome career, Luke. And
phenomenal.
These guys out there, class acts. They were just great all around. Good attitude, good people. So that's why we like talking about this. And Chris Billam-Smith, for those in America, probably not a household name that everyone would that would recognize.
Not yet.
But him and Tommy McCarthy put on quite the match this past Saturday for us. So Weekend Trav, let's jump right into that. Let's talk about that matchup with Billam-Smith and McCarthy.
Yeah, they stole the show. I mean, I think they were the co-main event, but they stole the show. Their fight ended up being probably the most exciting fight of that night, hands down. And it's good because I think guys like Chris Billam and the McGuigans, that camp who trains him, Shane McGuigan trains him. It's the Shane McGuigan is the son of Barry McGuigan, former world champion, Hall of Famer.
And they were all there. They were all there.
They were in the corners and all of that. So it's awesome to see those guys do good because I love it when good guys get their just due. And this fight was awesome. So originally, I missed the boat because this fight was in England, so I didn't tune in until the 5th round. But I since went back and watched the whole thing. But when I tuned into the 5th round, it was like Chris Billam-Smith was like dominating, in my opinion. Like the 5th, the 6th, like those rounds, I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to win this fight. I think he's going to stop the guy. But then when I went back and watched it, he got rocked in the first round. Like he almost went down. McCarthy landed a big shot and almost put him on his butt, but he stayed up.
Yeah, so I was following along via the socials during the fight from about the midway point of the first round. So my first interaction of that fight was actually witnessing that moment. But off and on, I mean, they put on a show. Went the distance, went to a split decision, and a friend of the show, Chris Billam-Smith, taking home now 3 belts. The cruiserweight, obviously, British Commonwealth title, the EBU European Cruiser title, and the BBBC title. Congrats to you, my friend, Chris Billam-Smith. What was your takeaway? I'll ask you a couple questions about him specifically, but what was your takeaway overall from the fight itself?
So from the fight itself, neither guy really stood out major to me in the cruiserweight division. Like, I didn't see enough from either one of those guys to say they're going to make a splash on the world scene. However, what I did see is a fight for TV. That fight was meant for TV, meaning it was an exciting fight. It was great for the fans. There was blood, there was guts, there was almost a knockdown, there was almost a knockout. Both of these guys gutted it out, showed true grit. So that's good, though, I think, too, in a way, for money-wise, for Chris Billam-Smith, because people want to watch him fight. It was an exciting fight. It wasn't a boring fight. So I think a lot of people want to see that. So I think what that's going to do, though, is it's going to give him a chance over in the States or somewhere else on the bigger scene. This is a pretty big scene, though. I mean, DAZN is by far one of the biggest networks out there right now. They really are. So he's on that scene, but now I think that he's going to get those big money fights because he was exciting for TV. So I think a cruiserweight is going to want to definitely fight him because 2 reasons. One, the kid's talented, he is, but he's tougher than nails. He's not going to come and lay down, and the McGuigans will have him as ready as they possibly can.
So that was going to be my kind of follow-up question to that. When we now jump over the pond a bit, how does his style translate to what we would traditionally see on this side and the U.S., even Mexican fighters, that sort of thing? What would you see from there? Though I don't know how many Mexicans are that big.
Yeah, not a lot. I see. He's there. I don't know if he wins yet, but I think, what is he, 13-1? I mean, he's actually still pretty, 13-1. He's at 10 KOs, 1 loss. He's still pretty green for the most part. So he might have a couple more fights before he kind of wants to jump over and do that. And I didn't agree totally with some of the broadcasters. Some of the broadcasters were saying that he doesn't need to go past this because he needs to rematch the guy because he's not there yet. I don't know if I agreed with that. I think he is over the hump a little bit because but winning those titles over there in Britain it's a pretty big deal.
Big deal.
So I think he's there, but I don't know if he beats them yet. But he's got to be careful because I don't think McCarthy is like a big puncher. And McCarthy caught him pretty flush in that first round, almost put him down. Mm-hmm. So what I would say about that is he's got to be careful because of another. Usually the cruiserweights on the big world scene are literally just stopping by in the cruiserweight division before they get to the heavyweight division.
Sure.
So a lot of heavyweights did that. Evander Holyfield did that. A lot of like well-known heavyweights fought cruiserweight first and then moved up. So what I'm saying about that is if he lets a guy that's on his way from cruiserweight to heavyweight hit Chris Billam-Smith with one of those punches, it might be lights out.
Yeah.
But Chris is tough. Chris would get up, I think.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of work to do in that regard. But I liked what I saw, except his jab was so good. His jab was really good. He was landing that jab so good, even at the very end. But I didn't have that. He didn't have that pop on the right hand where I thought he should have stopped McCarthy late because I thought in the 10th round, I for sure was like, okay, Billam-Smith's going to press the action. He's landing that jab really clean now. Yep. Usually when you land that jab that clean, guess what's happened next? That big right hand comes next. But he didn't throw it.
And see, that's something they'll work on, though. So, I mean, credit to McCarthy, too. I mean, hell of a chin. I mean, he was taking all that punishment. And from what we saw from Billam-Smith's prior fight, definite improvement. So the McGuigans are doing the right stuff there, shaping him a bit. They're gonna look at all that tape. They're saying the same things you're saying. They're gonna be saying the same and more, and they're gonna be working on that stuff in the gym. So I'd imagine he's probably gonna see himself a couple more times over on that side, and hopefully start to hit that bigger stage. Which this is still a big stage here. DAZN, it's during
co-main event on DAZN.
Exactly, and for us in the States, midway through a Saturday, you just kind of flip it on. It's there.
4 p.m. in the afternoon. I watch boxing.
That's great. You get a good wide audience exposure there. So, Chris Billam-Smith, I know we're going to try to get him here on the show.
Chris, if you're watching, brother, you've committed to us.
That's right. So
I want to get you on the show.
So we want to say once again, congratulations, the gentleman, Chris Billam-Smith. Awesome dude, high character dude, married dude out there, and just we're proud of you, and congratulations on holding those 3 belts out there, and we look forward to seeing big things from you and reaching out to you this week as well. Week in Trav, let's shift gears a bit then. Let's talk about some stuff coming up in the States potentially. One definitely, it seems like August 29th, we have Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. I know we have a few weeks here, but we are in August. Because we are filming, it's Sunday 1st. the 1st, which reminds me that we are the #1 Beards, right here, Bourbon, boxing, podcast shot in Orlando, Florida, specifically Laureate Park, specifically within a boxing gym, shot on a Sunday or Monday. Today's Sunday. So today's Sunday the 1st.
We've been pretty consistent.
That's #1 in that
Happy August, guys.
That demographic, we're #1. If you want to challenge us specifically in all those categories, go ahead. But we are definitely take the top seat there. So
bring it.
A few weeks from now, we have Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley from Cleveland, Ohio. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but let's at least address it a bit. I think there's been a lot more activity and things taking headlines, so we haven't heard a ton from them for the past week or two. But let me hear what you're seeing over there.
I mean, it's still the same. I mean, they're promoting this so well. I mean, Jake Paul promotes himself really well. I mean, I've said it many times on the show. Mm-hmm. Everybody should take a page out of his book. He's promoting it really well. But there's a lot of pride on the line here for Tyron Woodley because he knows what he's stepping into, and these guys have been going back and forth pretty heated and pretty serious. I mean, there's some pretty big words thrown around at these two guys. Tyron Woodley is taking this very serious. He's training his butt off. He enlisted, wasn't Mayweather into his mm-hmm. corner now. So I think the fight's going to be exciting. I do. I know that this isn't like one of those. This isn't a Canelo fight. This isn't, a Mayweather fight. But this is going to be an exciting fight. And I think it's crazy because fans are going to enjoy it, I think.
And it's going to be a massive money fight. Now, is this one the first one through Showtime?
Yep, this is his first as a partnership with Showtime, which I think they're doing like a Showtime behind the scenes right now. So if you tune into Showtime, they're going to start releasing slow episodes every week, like behind the scenes, 24-hour type of deal that Mayweather actually created.
Make no mistake about it. We've been very clear about our opinion about the YouTubers, the Jake Pauls of the world. We even talked about that in a prior episode, many episodes actually, but specifically recently. We know that we know what we're getting there, right? We're not expecting that this guy is going to light the world on fire. We understand what he is, who he is, and what he's about. And make no mistake, we know he's training significantly. Your friend BJ Flores is his head trainer.
Yep.
I mean, we know what's going on in that camp. So he's taking this extremely seriously, but you have to get through the layers of crud on personality and things, but realize he's a showman. He's combined the showman with the boxing stuff, and who knows, as the boxing talent improves, you never know what could happen as the years progress here. But this is a big-time fight for Woodley. Big money fight for him. This is very, very important. And as the weeks progress, we will chat a little bit more specifically about that. We can, Trav,
I think that our job here, and this is why I like talking about it, even though it's August 29th, we're talking about it so early, but I think our job as a boxing purist, I just want to gauge people's expectations. Meaning, I want people to know what this is going to be. Is it going to be true, like I said, world championship, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, that type of boxing? No. But, guys, it's going to be an exciting fight, okay? You have to gauge your expectations, know what you're tuning in for. You're not going to see some high-class, skill level type of stuff. But you're also not going to see bottom of the barrel stuff either.
I take that back because I think this card is going to be obviously much better than the priors we've seen.
Yeah, because it's just showtime.
Because it's showtime. So I can't remember who the user or follower was that made comments to our prior video. We were talking about this, and they are absolutely correct. The other matches that are on this card, 100% huge improvement from what we saw with Triller, Fight, whatever they're calling themselves now. Actually, you know what?
Fight Club.
I just saw that they're trying to get back in the monthly game there. They have some fights coming up in New York. Triller does.
Lower level for sure.
Lower level for sure. It's going to be worse. So you are right. On the prior videos, you made comments, and you're 100% accurate. This card is going to be much more boxer friendly, and it's going to have better matchups. And so we're pretty excited of what this is going to turn into for him. I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, it's looking like right now that I believe, I don't know if Jake Paul's even the main event. They have Amanda Serrano. She's 40-1. She's fighting Yamileth Mercado, who's 18-2, and it's for a world title. So it's a female world title. Plus, you're also having a super welterweight attraction, Charles Cornwell, who's 15-0, fighting Mark DeLuca, who's 27-2. Then you have a couple others on there. So, yeah, you're going to get real boxing now, especially it's going to be on Showtime pay-per-view. Showtime puts on boxing matches. Because that brand is different, that's changing the game here. So we're pretty, you know what? You're not going to get the lowbrow stuff, commentators like you got on Triller. You're gonna get some lowbrow stuff. Not like Triller. But not like Triller, not even close. You're not going to be smoking weed and drunk on the air. Not even close. It's not going to be. You're not having a coked out De La Hoya on there talking. It's not going to be De La Hoya, USSR, baby. You remember him? Listen, oh my goodness. That's your boy. Anyways, we have photos to prove it. So August 29th, that's coming up. As we get a little closer to August 29th, we're obviously going to spend a lot more time on this matchup because we're going to hear more about it. You're going to see more on the socials. You're going to see more on ESPN and everywhere else talking about this thing. So that will get pretty exciting towards August 29th. Weekend travel. Let's talk Canelo Alvarez for a minute. The on-again, off-again with Caleb Plant. That came to a screeching halt this week. And a lot of things seem to be clear on Caleb Plant's side, at least the accusations, I should say, of what he was willing to concede just to get this fight to actually come to fruition. This is a unification for all those belts. Caleb Plant has one of them. It's a big fight. He's undefeated. Caleb Plant's 21-0. Yeah, he only has the one, right? I can't recall. He's got the IBF, Okay, so this is something that I would like to see happen as a sports fan because the boxing title thing has always been confusing to me. But it seems like this has come to a grinding halt. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about big fights are always tough to put together because you have two guys on both sides who Canelo is the A side for sure. When Caleb Plant fights, he's the A side. And it's hard when you get two A sides trying to come together and make concessions. But I'll tell you this right now. Caleb Plant just passed up the biggest payday that he's ever had. I believe it was something like $10 million guaranteed, and that wasn't even counting the pay-per-view sales. That wasn't counting the back end. So from what I heard and what I read, the reason why this fell apart completely was I read somewhere where Caleb Plant was wanting 45% of the Mexican revenue from the Mexican fans and the pay-per-view over there. And let's be honest, guys. Is Caleb Plant crazy talented, 21-0? 100%. Is he going to give Canelo a lot of issues? Probably. But you're stepping into the realm. Canelo's the face of boxing, period. He's the cash cow of boxing. He's the A side. He brings the money. He brings all the eyeballs. He is 100% going to lead those negotiations. And if you don't like it, then you walk away. And Caleb Plant's walking away. So Caleb Plant's walking away from two big things. His biggest money fight is all time and a legacy fight. You got to fight the best. You're a world champion at super middleweight, but you've never faced Canelo Alvarez. So you can call yourself a world champion all you want. Everybody knows, anything about boxing knows that division is Canelo's division right now because he's the world champion. Yeah, even though you have a title, Canelo's the world champion.
And it's the same thing that we talk about on and off again with a lot of these fights that fall apart. You don't know where the truth is. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I'm sure Caleb Plant had a higher asking price than probably what he would warrant, right? But he is the dancing partner. And then his response after it broke out on the news channels that it was off, Caleb Plant did respond. I was trying to find that, but he was pretty thorough with how he responded.
I saw the layout.
He laid it out. He's like, we conceded on this. We conceded on this. I conceded on this, blah, blah, blah. Who knows if that's all truth or not?
I bet it is true because, one, you will concede to that stuff because you are fighting Canelo.
We waited for Canelo to get married. We waited for the show. We waited for the golf tournament, all these things. He went specifically boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
But you know what? They're talking. They still want a matchup here. Canelo wants a matchup on September 18th still. The rumored dance partner now, Dimitri Bivol. I don't think we're necessarily done on the Caleb Plant front yet.
I agree. I think that they had some very serious negotiations. I don't think they completely fell apart because Caleb Plant's people also know that his biggest payday is against Canelo. Okay? They know that. And a loss to Canelo doesn't really mean much because he's by far one of the greatest athletes right now in boxing, period. Yep. So if you lose to him, it's a win-win for Caleb Plant, regardless. You fight and get your biggest payday ever.
Yep.
You're a world champion. You're fighting the best. Nobody's going to knock you for that. If you lose, nobody's going to knock you for that. Because, one, show up, give your best effort. Even if you lose, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to judge you. You lost the best. So, but if you don't fight him, who the heck in the world are you going to fight to even make a fraction of what you would make against Canelo? Nobody. And he knows that. The super middleweight division, who's in there? That's a good dancing partner for Caleb Plant. Not very many, especially that kind of money.
Yeah.
Caleb Plant's making some decent money already. He is. But you want to make Canelo Alvarez money, you fight Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, exactly.
And you give to all of their negotiations. If you want to fight him, you fight him. But it wasn't like, and let's be fair, though, I don't want to throw Canelo under the bus because it's not like they were trying to rip him off. They offered him $10 million guaranteed, I believe, which is by far his biggest payday ever. And that was before he gets pay-per-view sales as well. And you know that Canelo Alvarez is going to sell pay-per-view.
Right. And
you're going to get a portion of that.
Right.
Okay? So you're looking at this guy probably pass up $10 to $20 million. Why? Because you waited for him to get married. You waited for him to do this. Who cares? Get in the ring with him. Figure it out and get in the ring with him. If you're asking for pay-per-view sales from Mexico and all that stuff, get out of here because you're not going to get it. Canelo is the Mexican draw, period.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. We still have some time here. Both guys are training no matter what. So
they know how it goes.
This is part of the negotiation process. You start hearing names like Dimitri Bivol coming out. That's part of the negotiation tactic as well in order to try to drive the Caleb Plant camp back onto the negotiation table. So we'll see. I mean, we still have, like I said, 5 weeks, 6 weeks till that happens.
August. Oh man,
it's coming up.
They actually
Weekend Trav. It's August 1st.
Actually, there's
a drop dead date. I know
there is. So
we'll know something by this week, I think.
I guarantee you, what Canelo and that team is doing is they are actively searching out somebody else, 100%, because they're smart. They're actively searching, and they're probably going to make a deal in place, and they're probably going to tell them, listen, this is the deal. However, if Caleb Plant comes back to the negotiating table, we're probably going to take him. He's our number one guy.
Yeah.
We'll take you if it's a backup. But Plant better stop messing around because the Canelo Alvarez team is going to land somebody. I bet they make an announcement by this weekend. They're going to have to.
Yeah.
It's August 1st.
We're starting to run out of time.
You're talking about a Canelo fight? You need 6 to 8 weeks to promote a Canelo fight.
I don't even know if you need that long.
Not for Canelo, but most big fights, you need a little bit of a tour, you need a little bit of media, you need all that stuff. And they usually have a big little tour when they do that. And it's usually about 8 weeks. So they better go.
All right, well, we'll see, folks. So stay tuned to that. We'll be on top of that as well, giving you any details that we hear on the show. Let's bridge into a different topic. Let's get away from boxing for a few moments. But the bridge, Weekend Trav, we're going to talk first about this Maker's Mark 2021 limited release that we're having. It's not your traditional Maker's Mark, like you would just go to the normal store and buy it. It does have the wax and all that stuff. But this thing... pretty strong, pretty hot. 110.3 proof. It's pretty solid to me.
It's really hot.
For those that are listening to the audio broadcast, whether it's on iTunes or whether it's on Spotify, whatever else, Weekend Trav just took his little cup and spun that thing around. I don't know all the proper terms.
I'm trying to be proper right now. We're started out drinking the
I tried
whiskey
it neat,
neats.
dude. I tried this neat.
It was hot.
Couldn't do it. It was really hot. I had to put a couple pieces of ice in there.
Super hot.
Yeah, and call me what you will on that, but I needed that. What are your thoughts here? We're gonna give it a ranking, but what are your thoughts? Give me the ranking 0 to 10 boxing gloves as well.
This Maker's Mark limited release. I think it still tastes very quality and it's very strong, but it does have I don't know. It says it's got a fruit-forward expression with notes of tobacco and wood.
I get that. I could get that after the ice melted into it.
I'm going to go up a little bit on this. I'm going to go 7.1.
Okay.
I think that's one of my higher ones for sure. I think I'm going to go 7.1 because I feel like it's quality. It's a 2021 limited release. It tastes really quality to me.
Yeah.
It's strong, but I feel like a little I think we had what was the Conor McGregor crap that we drank?
Yeah,
Proper 12, who was really strong and hot, but it was really strong and hot and just cheap tasting.
Different. See, for me, it's hard to compare the two because they're two different things. The Proper 12 is the Scotch whiskey. That's not the same as this. This is a bourbon. Ultimately, I do really like this. However, this isn't one of these ones you just guzzle, okay? We've had plenty of terrible things on the show. We've had very good things on the show, too. But I would say, in general, this is a nice sipping, enjoying sort of bourbon that we're drinking. You gave it a 7.1. I'm going to give it a 7.3. I really like it.
Oh, he stepped it up a notch.
Really like it. So that, on average, folks, is a 7.2 boxing gloves out of 10.
It's pretty high.
It's pretty high.
I like it.
It's pretty high.
I like it, B-Money.
So that's the bridge to the Olympics weekend, Trav. It's still Olympic season out there in Japan. I once again, as of last week, I mentioned I haven't really watched a second of anything other than maybe something tied to a news article I'm reading. I've been in a happy hour or two over the past week, and there have been TVs, so I actually have caught some action, but on stuff that isn't your traditional women's soccer, yawn. All the gymnastics drama, yawn to me. But I've caught stuff like the kayaking.
Oh wow, you got the exciting stuff.
Like crazy stuff, like stuff I didn't even know was a sport. The archery.
Kind of cool though.
If you're listening at home,
it's really neat.
If you're listening at home, I'm doing my best archery impersonation here.
His shadow impersonations.
So, anyways, but we wanted to talk because you, I should say, gave your take, a little quick shot with regard to the Simone Biles. We don't want to spend time on that.
Yeah. So I mean, our money shot though of the week was, this is why we'll lead into it, is because our money shot of the week. Okay.
Was
Sunisa Lee.
Yep.
Who won a gold medal in the individual all around, correct? Yep. Is that how it was said?
That's correct.
She won a gold medal in that. And the reason why I want to bring it up because this girl pulled through and literally the money shot of the week is her, and you'll see it around here.
The video here. We're going to have the video here as long as NBC Universal doesn't take it down.
Yeah, this is true.
But to clarify, so she was not the replacement. When Simone Biles quit and backed out because of mental health reasons. She wasn't the replacement. She was already in there. Probably expected to be bronze at that point. I mean, she was one of the top candidates there.
She was already expected to do in the individual,
But ultimately just came through for America.
She did. She brought gold home.
Fantastic.
America.
Love seeing that.
That's why I gave her the money shot of the week, because she earned it and she deserved it. And I got a lot of slack because I'm watching her floor routine. I actually watched this. I watched Sunisa Lee's floor routine, and it came down to that. Like, she had to post a really great score to take the lead, and she ended up holding the lead through. And I picked her because sports, it's hard.
Yeah.
At the elite level, it's hard. The fact that she needed such amazing score going in, do you know how tough mentally she had to be to get through that? And she rose above it. So the reason why I picked her is because the mental toughness.
Yeah.
And I get it. We all have mental weaknesses, mental illnesses, all of that. If you have a mental illness, then you shouldn't be competing, and that's all there is to it. For a fact, you shouldn't be competing if you do have a mental problem.
It's the stress,
for sure.
The stress of the moment. Now, I mean, obviously, listening to the video that we had posted and watching it, I edited obviously, but it's up there. And for those that have followed along to that and have, no one's chimed in, which is interesting to me. We'll maybe get to that in a second. But with regard to Simone Biles backing down, I get it. Okay, mental health things, it's a very serious deal, very real deal. But on that elite level, there's a certain point where, you know what, you just got to show up and do it.
Yep.
And then, yes, plenty of Olympic athletes have come to her defense that even said they struggle with stuff. But you know what's missing from them in their stories? Them quitting during events.
Yep.
That's what I take exception to that part. Okay, and I get it. There could have been some issues if she was like mid jump or doing whatever and spinning, and she said she had the twisties and she couldn't. You know, there could be some potential risk there.
Yep.
But that's your sport. You've done your whole life.
Yep.
Okay, there's a lot of pressure there. And Sunisa Lee, kudos to her, money shot of the week with this because she had pressure on her too. You know how many American women have won that in a row? The all-around gold?
There's a lot of pressure.
Several.
Yeah.
I think we were 4 deep at that point. I think she was the 5th Olympics in a row that we've won women's all-around gold medal.
Individual.
Yeah. So listen, if you want Weekend Trav's take, which my take isn't going to be very far off of that, check out the video content below.
Weighing in with Travis Hartman YouTube.
So that was the quick shot on that. But we don't. Once again, we're falling into the trap too. We're talking more about Simone Biles than who actually should get all the glory here, and that's Sunisa Lee.
Here's and you're right, and there are other players too because they end up getting a group effort. They got a silver medal.
Yep.
My whole take is this. I've already said it. Simone Biles does not deserve to be bashed. She's a decorated athlete. I don't believe bashing her, and I haven't bashed her at all, and I believe we don't bash her. I call it what it is. She quit mid-match. She did. But here's my thing. She's decorated. I don't know how. She had like 20-something medals, I believe, in the Olympics overall. Like over all of her years.
Well, she'll go down as one of the best ever.
Yes, and this is my thing. If you accept the accolades for doing all of that while under pressure, okay, all the other Olympics that she won, the previous Olympics 4 years ago, the 2016 Olympics, you don't think she was under pressure then too? She rose above it, and she did something exceptional that nobody else is doing, right? She got the prize for that. She got accolades. She got put all over. She got endorsements because she rose above the mental anguish, the mental struggle that you have. She did. She rose above it. That's why she's decorated, okay? So my point is, if we are going to give her accolades for that, then when the tables are turned, you got to be honest. She broke. She broke in a moment where the previous years she didn't, okay? Does she have mental... For sure. I believe her when she says that she didn't feel like she could compete anymore. But let's call it what it is. She quit mid-match.
Yeah.
Okay? She
quit mid-match. Whatever the reason was.
Exactly.
That's what happened.
And people keep telling me, they're like, oh, there was risk. There's risk no matter what. You could be 100% healthy and focused, and you twist a tad off, you could definitely die.
We'll never know the reasons truly why she quit, okay? Whether it was for all the proper things or whether it was through because of frustration and blaming on, we will never know, okay? But let's call a spade here, right?
That's all I've been saying the whole time.
Okay, she quit.
That's it.
But the problem has been, and you mentioned it in the video, was that all the media coverage, including now us,
we're celebrating the wrong stuff.
Was celebrating her saying, "Oh, she is so strong for quitting." Serious? Seriously, that's our society now.
Yeah.
That is our society. We celebrate that rather than those that still stick to it. You're telling me that the other women involved weren't strong to go through all the mental stuff and the pressure was mounting on them too? Come on.
B-Money, you're echoing exactly what I said in there.
So once again, we're falling in that trap too. But money shot of the week, Sunisa Lee, all-around gold, well-deserved. She broke through the pressure and all the expectations, and she brought home the gold medal to the U.S. women's
Congratulations,
gymnastics.
Sunisa Lee.
Congratulations. So, Weekend Trav. We're going to stick
sir.
with this Olympic theme for Beardsman of the Week. Yeah, there's a whole thing. Beardsman of the week. So we were looking, and just to try to stick with the Olympic theme, we're searching, okay, who could be the best Olympic beard? And we actually had to dig into the annals a little bit. So it wasn't from...
How do you spell that?
Well, it starts with an A-N-A. There's an L in there. Anyways, the annals, and it wasn't from this Olympics, but from the 2016 Summer Games.
Yep.
Seth Wheel. Now, let me give you a little bit about Seth Wheel.
Give it to us. Give it to us, B-Money.
He's a U.S. rower, okay? I think he's like 34 years old now.
Okay.
So I don't believe he's in this Olympics. At least we didn't see anything about it. But the dude, and you'll see him on the screen now. We're putting him on the screen. Dude has a fantastic, or had a fantastic Olympic beard. Beardsman. He was part of the 7th place U.S. men's coxless 4 rowing team.
Coxless?
Coxless 4.
You said that is cockless.
C-O-X-L-E-S-S. Coxless 4. Coxless 4.
They were without cock?
No.
No, it's cockless.
There's an X.
Oh, it's without cocks.
I guess.
That's what
I'm
coxless.
not a rower.
The official grammar would be less, and cocks. You would say without cocks.
Okay, so for what it's worth,
I used to be a journalist.
He was a part in the 2016 Summer Games. I don't remember where they were. Was that Rio? I don't remember. He was
Rio.
One of the U.S. rowers for the men's 4 boat, otherwise known as the Coxless 4.
The Coxless 4, okay.
Took home 7th, so that wasn't a medal. But you don't need a medal when you have a beard like this.
Lumberjack beard that is phenomenal. This guy's beard is lumberjack. That's a lumberjack beard.
It's got depth. I'm looking at it.
He's got more depth than we have, and we're going to give it to him. We're the #1 boxing, beard, and bourbon podcast in Orlando, Florida, specifically in Laureate Park, specifically in a gym, sometimes on a Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, but today it's a Sunday, in the world.
And
his beard is better.
And that we talk about Jake Paul every other week.
Every other week.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Jake Paul.
YouTube algorithm.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Logan Paul.
Coxless.
Michaela Mayer.
So China.
In a way.
I don't know. Exactly. Japan, in a way. Boxing.
So yes, Beardsman of the Week is going to go to Seth Wheel, even though it wasn't of this week. It was of 5 years ago.
He gets it, though. He deserves it.
He gets it. He deserves it.
We're a little bit late. We're late to
the game.
Late to the game.
So what?
Big deal.
So what?
Big deal.
I'd rather be late to the party than early.
Amen. God bless. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So, Seth Wheel, I'm looking at you right now, bro. Nice beard, brother.
Nice
I hope
beard.
you still have that. I think we need to do an updated thing and look at him. I'm gonna do some research later and see what his beard looks like now. I have a feeling that good of a beard, he's not getting rid of it.
But you know what? I like the fact that
he's not gonna pull a weekend Trav.
I like the fact that in a team sport referenced as the Coxless 4, we actually didn't do well. I would rather be known otherwise rather than part of the Coxless 4. But anyway, so not many people can say they're Olympian. I can't say that.
I can't say that either.
No, you trained from boxing standpoint, but
you know what? Just so we can go on a little bit of a rant,
I'm
going to go and do it a little bit. And this is a little bit in defense of my Simone Biles stance because people are actually. What's funny?
We don't need any defense.
I know you're exactly right because I've had a couple negative comments on my Facebook, but the YouTube I haven't. I've got more positive feedback privately in my Messenger. Thank you guys for that. But say it publicly. But what I want to say is. We were talking about an Olympians, right? I've never been an Olympian. For boxing, Olympics is amateur. So I fought in the 2004 Western Olympic Trials, February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I believe was the dates. And guess what? My house burned down January 8th.
Did you have any mental stress during that?
I had a lot.
Any anxiety? We
were living in an apartment. Our house, we lost it all. It was a total loss.
Did you have the twisties?
I did not. Oh. But what I want to say is, I do get it. Gymnastics, I could not even do a fraction. I can't even do a somersault, Simone Biles. So I will openly admit my weaknesses.
When I go to pick this fake money off the floor later, I may throw my back out.
See, so I know that I'm not a gymnast.
Sure.
I'm not. So I'm not saying that I have the exact same as her. I'm saying that elite level athletes, we all go through mental struggles.
Yep.
We are paid and considered professional because we go through those mental struggles and we decide to rise above it when the average person wouldn't. And That's how it is. That's why you're considered a professional or an elite level gymnast, because that is pro for them, because there's nothing else after the Olympics.
Well, let's continue the tangent a little bit on that topic specifically. Here's where I have a real problem with the way media is handling this, and where people are getting bent out of shape.
That's why I say don't bash Simone. I say that.
No, yeah, and I'm not bashing her. I don't want to say I'm bashing her, but I can say someone quit.
Call a
that's
spade
what
a
it
spade.
is.
That's not
okay,
bashing.
Big deal. So
When you don't finish something, what is the definition?
when I'm playing Monopoly against my family and they gang up on me and I say, forget it, I quit, I'm a quitter.
Flip the table up?
That never happens, because I actually school them in that. I know they're not watching,
Financial
so
guy.
whatever. I always school
You can
them
talk
on
all
that.
the smack.
Yeah. So anyways, here's, I think, the problem right now, Weekend Trav, when it
Anyways,
comes
anyway.
to this, is that I feel like people somehow they want to figure out how to intertwine race and politics into it
Yep.
without doing it.
Yep.
So and hear me out here. So, because I'm not trying to do this with this in particular at all, but I have a feeling that some of the people that are getting bent out of shape may want to somehow make it more of a racial deal or a political deal when it's not.
No.
It's not at all. We're talking about someone that just flat out quit for whatever the reason was, whether it was truly what was stated, which even that was kind of a moving target, or if it was just, I didn't perform well on that event and forget it, I'm out.
Yeah.
But this is the biggest stage, folks, the biggest stage in the world for these athletes that have been waiting for a year to be on display. Remember, this
More
is
than a year, because it's supposed to be 2020.
supposed to be 2020.
They've technically been waiting 4 or 5 years, because the last Olympics was 2016.
And she knows that she has certain media sponsors to appease,
Yep.
and they've all clamored to her feet and said, "Oh yes, Simone, we hear you, we understand. It's such a big deal," and blah 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 blah. But I have a feeling, I just get the feeling when I enter the room of this conversation that people want to make it about race and politics, and that's not what we're coming across as, and that's not what it should be at all.
This is where I think that I do really well at my boxing predictions, because I take emotion out of my predictions,
Yeah.
and I look at it for what it is, right? All my predictions that I always make, that's why I think I'm really good at making predictions for big fights. This is what I'm doing with Simone. Listen, here's the thing. I'm a sports guy. I used to be a sports journalist. Here's what we do. We have a podcast now about sports, okay? We judge those sports based on our opinions. The sports.
Yeah.
That's it, right? You want to judge the sport, she quit. Okay? Do you want to celebrate her later in a separate entity, saying she could be an advocate for mental health later? Go for it,
Fine.
because Tyson Fury did it. Tyson Fury had a mental breakdown after his win against Klitschko. Huge mental breakdown. 2-3 years ago, was out of business. Went on cocaine tangents. Everything. Guy lost his mind.
You're telling me round 10 he didn't just stop?
If he would have stopped, we wouldn't be talking about him right now, because he would have lost that fight and faded off. So, yes, my biggest thing is I am looking at what she did, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at the event. She was halfway through the event, or whatever, 3/4 way, whatever it was. She quit mid-event. She bowed out, okay?
Yeah.
My example on my YouTube video on Weighing In with Travis Hartman was if Tom Brady did that in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, because the Olympics is like the Super Bowl for football. Okay, so football's a big deal. Super Bowl's a big deal. Tom Brady quits when things get tough. What are we going to say? We say he quit, or we use the word choke. LeBron James, not because he's black, because he's an athlete. If he falters down the stretch, we say he choked.
Correct.
I hate the word, but all sports analysts say
Correct.
that. Why is Simone Biles
Getting the pass?
I think I said it, and I agree with it. She quit because of mental whatever. You're allowed to do whatever you want. Nobody can force you to compete. I agree with that. But when you make a decision like that, you have to live with the repercussions of what everybody's going to say. You do.
The point that we're both trying to make is we're not going to give her a pass for one reason or another.
She quit mid-match.
She's quit. Okay. Doesn't mean we're bashing her. Doesn't mean like, oh, shame on you. You
She's
should
a
have done this.
phenomenal
and that.
athlete.
No, shame on you. You shouldn't have done it. No, I'm actually not saying that. Okay. My point is, I'm just calling it
did
what
it.
it is. She did it.
A spade's a spade.
Bingo.
That's
Bingo.
it.
So
Now
if you so someone come to me and argue that she didn't quit, because frankly, by Webster's dictionary definition, that's what happened. Okay.
It's exactly what happened.
Gosh.
If you don't finish something, what is it considered?
Hey, what happens if I tomorrow when I'm in my office and I'm in the middle of, taking care of a financial plan for somebody, or I'm trying to, rework a portfolio, and I say, you know what, this is just too much for me, I'm out.
You're probably going to get fired.
Yeah, exactly.
You're probably going to get fired.
I mean, that's the same thing, right? It's similar.
Why are we not talking about that? That's like actually 100% true. You're on the job. You're doing a job. I got a good example. A perfect example, because people keep throwing to me life and death with Simone Biles and all of her tricks that she does in the air. She could definitely kill herself. She could. Athletes have been hurt, for sure. Multiple times in gymnasts. They've been hurt seriously. They have. I don't wish that upon anybody.
No.
But the example I want to give is, yes, she could have got hurt if she wasn't all the way there, but how about that pilot that is flying you cross country, and all of a sudden he's halfway through the trip and he's like, oh, my wife's about to divorce me. I'm just going to quit and walk off. And when I quit and get out of the cockpit and walk off because I need a mental break, the plane crashes and everybody dies. That's an exaggerated effect. But what's the difference? He's on the job. He's doing a job. One, being a pilot, it's not easy. It can't be easy. I've never done that. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I know I couldn't. Yeah. But what's the difference if he quits mid-job? He's not only getting fired, he's firing everybody on the plane too, because they're going to die.
So listen, if you don't like what we're saying about this, if you don't like it, tell us. Tell us in the comments below, because you know what? We like to have that interaction, and maybe we're wrong. But I can tell you this, you'd have to really convince me that I'm wrong on my thoughts here, because I don't think I am.
Again, I've said this multiple times too. This is my professional opinion based on all of my experiences of my entire life. I've been an athlete since I was 6 years old. Mm-hmm. I'm 38 years old now. Just turned 38 in July. So what I tell everybody is, this is my opinion. My opinion's not wrong. It's my opinion. Everybody can have them. Your opinion is not wrong either.
Yes.
You can say and think what you want, but that's my professional opinion.
Wake up, everybody. You can have a different opinion than we do about all sorts of stuff. We're allowed to do that. There's not one opinion on every topic across the globe, whether it's the gymnast, whether it's the Olympics, sports, whether it's bourbon, whether it's COVID or politics. There's not one opinion that is the end-all right opinion. We can all have different opinions about stuff. I don't agree with him on everything. I don't like that shirt.
I don't like the Packers.
He doesn't, but we're back, baby, and this is our year because everyone's back and we're going all in. So, episode 56, we're wrapping this thing up. You know, we chatted a little bit about Canelo's fight coming up here on the 18th against, who knows? We'll find out, September 18th. And then Jake Paul brothers. Jake Paul, YouTubers, boxing.
Logan
Paul.
Mayweather,
Jake Paul taking on Tyron Woodley here at the end of the month. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the weeks ahead. And then obviously our friend Chris Billam-Smith taking down Tommy McCarthy. Split decision victory there, now holding 3 of those British belts out there. Congratulations to our friend out there. And, of course, Luke Campbell retiring. Kudos to an awesome, phenomenal career.
Stay tuned for that interview in this corner.
Yep.
On our YouTube channel.
It's coming.
Stay looking for that.
It's coming, folks. So Weekend Travel, let me give you the final thoughts, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Listen, I believe, and this is what I teach all of my athletes, there's never shame in losing, but never quit. I tell them all the time. We're doing even my average client that I'm just training. I tell them, listen, if you get tired mid-workout, I'm okay with you stopping and taking a break for a second. But guess what? I live this stuff. I don't just speak it. I live this stuff. And I tell them, I go, listen, you can always stop and take a break, but you're not going to quit. Period. If we're going to do 25 push-ups and you're tired after 15, stop, take a break. But guess what? We're not leaving until you finish. Yeah. Because that's what I was taught. You start something, you finish it. Okay? Yeah. Unless, obviously, you break a leg or whatever, and you physically can't. And I get also, somebody's going to chime in here. I know they are. Mental health is like a physical injury. It's a physical injury to your brain. I get it. I do. More than you know. I've been through more than they know that I'm not openly ready to talk about either. But I've been through that more than people know. Mm-hmm. More than you know. That's why I tell everybody I'm speaking on this from experience, okay? With a woman and within myself. I'm speaking on this from experience about mental health and mental toughness. So what I tell everybody is, listen, there's no shame in losing. There is shame in quitting. Never quit, period.
To sum it up, the streets sum up, there's no shame in your game. That there is Weekend Trav.
That there is B-Money, a.k.a. the producer, a.k.a. Green Bay Packers suck. Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul. God bless Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.